Happy Monday. So today I have a very inspiring woman with us. Anna started her recruiting career as an executive recruiter for an agency specializing in placements for technology and wireless companies. She even had her own search firm for a while, but then she decided that it was causing her to burn out. And people usually see a lot of LinkedIn posts where a lot of people, candidates specifically, are claiming that recruiters ghost them, they never hear back from them. But Anna definitely knows both sides of the story, and I would love to understand her perspective regarding how hard it is to do that job, what she's learned along the way, and what we can learn from her learnings. Hi, Anna. How are you doing today?
I am great.
How's your day been so far? How's Monday?
Monday's doing good, and glad to be with you.
Of course. So, Anna, first question is first. How has your experience been in the recruitment space for yourself specifically?
I really love recruiting. I've been doing it a long time. I've had several other careers, taken a couple of side tracks a few times during my recruiting career, but to me, recruiting is incredibly fulfilling because you're trying to find a great match for whatever company that you're supporting, but you also make that person super happy that this is a great opportunity for them. So it's a puzzle, finding the right match, but I find it incredibly rewarding.
Okay, so Anna, I definitely can see that you have this purpose to give back, and it's very inspiring to see because I think these days a lot of people just want to get the good skills, hard skills required that would allow them to earn a lot of money. But then
Mhm.
when people actually do something that they're passionate about, that causes them to be fulfilled, that causes them to be excited about going to work every day, and I can definitely see that in your answer. So thank you so much for sharing that, Anna. My next question for you would be is that you mentioned that it causes you to be fulfilled. But when you got into recruitment, did you initially thought that you were going to go into recruitment? Because a lot of people that I've spoken with who are in recruitment say that they fell into it. It was never decided. So what was your motivation?
Yeah, I actually am probably one of the few people I've ever heard of who consciously decided to go into recruiting. I had been working in environmental service companies. I've been managing an environmental service company and was recruited by an executive agency. And they said to me, geez, you should really think about being an executive recruiter. And I stayed in the environmental industry a bit longer and then moved into actually congressional campaign management. And after I had done that, I thought to myself, okay, what do I really want to do? And I decided to target executive recruiting, and I found a position and I just loved it. So that's how I got into it. I purposely wanted to. I like connecting people, so yeah, I actually chose it.
Wow. I think you are definitely like one of the first few people who actually actively chose to go into recruitment. And maybe that's because you have a strong mission, you have a strong purpose, which is to tie together the people who are looking for a job with the job that they're passionate about, essentially. So thank you for sharing that. Anna, so recruiting itself is very hard, but you're into executive recruitment, which takes it a top notch further. I think I'd love to understand a lot of companies specifically these days are placing a lot of emphasis on diverse candidates, people from minorities, people of color, women as well. So how do you find diverse talent at your current company, for example, at Okta, and how do you ensure that you attract diverse talent from bigger companies to your company?
Yeah, we directly go out and look for people. As recruiters, we spend a lot of time on LinkedIn Recruiter, and a few other programs. So we are looking for talent all the time, and I think we have a good focus on that, on diversity, equity, and inclusion here. So I think that's one way we attract it. We have a really good culture. That's also really tends to be very important to the people that we hire. I always ask a question of my candidates about why diversity, equity, inclusion is important to them and what they've done to support that on their teams. That also kind of emphasizes how important that is to all the candidates. So obviously we hire people from all different backgrounds and ethnicities, and so but it's important that everybody embraces that. philosophy because it really strengthens the team and
Okay.
helps the company to be more successful.
I love that. I think culture definitely does play a very important role. But I think because Okta is a very specific, it focuses on niche skills, cybersecurity, how do you find really niche skilled candidates? Because I think a lot of companies, a lot of top companies are usually after these niche skilled candidates because they're not as like they don't stay in the market for too long. So what strategies does your company have? What exactly about your culture is there that candidates would want to work for your company specifically?
I think one thing that's very helpful for us is we are really a remote friendly company. There's a few positions that you need to be close to headquarters, but other than that, we're very open to remote work, so that also helps us attract talent. When I talk to candidates, I'll talk to them about our culture. You know, one thing that comes up is people will say is that companies talk about having a great culture, but they usually don't do anything about it. And just a couple of examples that I tell people about that I've enjoyed here is, for instance, during the summer when we have a 3-day holiday, they'll encourage us to take an extra wellness day off, so it's a 4-day. We have unlimited PTO like many companies. The other thing that they do is this year we had it last year. We're having it again this year. Thanksgiving week, U.S. Thanksgiving week, the whole company shuts down, and also the week after Christmas. So it's really nice to take some time off where everybody's off, so you don't have to worry about somebody covering or things like that. So they invest a lot in mental health resources, and the benefits are really good. And I think just we have a very transparent culture that people find very refreshing. So I think there's a really good. It's very open and friendly, and really I find that everybody's very focused on the company success, but also the management is very supportive of employees' development.
Okay, I think transparency is key these days because every day you're hearing about people getting laid off. So I think a lot of people are scared. But when there's an established sense of trust, when there's an established sense of communication, being transparent, I think it puts people at ease that, okay, they're working for a company that cares for them at the end of the day. They're working for a company that considers them an asset as opposed to a liability. And they would actually reach out to them if, for example, things are turning bad for the company and stuff. So thank you so much for sharing that, Anna. Anna,
Yeah.
last question is a lot of companies have different hiring steps, hiring processes. There isn't a standard process that would produce the best talent. So what exactly is the hiring process like at Okta? What are some of the questions that you usually ask candidates to ensure that they would be a good fit for your company?
Well, I can only speak to my process in executive recruiting. I think the other parts of the company may do things a bit differently, but really our goal is to review resumes as soon as possible. I review every resume, everybody who applies. We don't have, I know sometimes there's a thought that there's an applicant tracking system that kicks people out. We don't have that. So review resumes right away. We really pay a lot of attention to employee referrals. Reach out quickly, as quickly as we can on LinkedIn to people who might look like a good fit. I myself, my interviews are a bit long because I really want to get to know the person really well and find out what's important to them. And so, of course, my roles are always leadership positions. So I'll talk to them about their leadership style and find out what's important to them. And of course, I have my diversity, equity, inclusion question. Then I have a lot of questions that are based on the role and finding out, what some of their proudest accomplishments might be and some of their strategies, things like that. I always discuss compensation right up front. So that's very clear. And I'll talk to them about, the role and the company, and then I'll set expectations on when I should most likely hear back to follow up with them. I always let candidates know they can always follow up with me if they haven't heard anything, because sometimes we get super busy and there's been a delay, somebody got sick, and the interviewing got delayed, but I'll try to follow up as quickly as I can, and I'm always open to having a quick follow-up. We do a lot of interviews over Zoom, so I have a lot of follow-up Zoom calls, and once I interview a candidate, and then they move on to interview with the hiring manager, if they're going to then move on to the next round of interviews, I'll have a quick call with them to prepare them as much as I can. And when all is said and done, I have a Zoom call if they haven't, if they were not selected. I'll give them whatever feedback I can and have a Zoom call with them. So I get a lot of feedback on it being a really good experience for people. They seem to really enjoy interviewing with us. So that's always great to hear.
And I think, first of all, our time is up, but the extra miles you're going for people, especially giving them feedback, helping them prepare for their next interviews, a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people just get a standard email being like, oh, you were not selected for this role because this position has been filled. But I can see the passion you have for helping people, the passion you have to make a difference. And it's very inspiring to see, because time is everything these days. Time is money, essentially. But you are going out of your way to provide personalized feedback to each of the candidates that you speak with, leaving a good mark on their minds regarding, okay, this company is really good. You represent your company in such a positive way, which is why I'm pretty sure candidates would come back, would want to apply again, because at the end of the day, you're the one that is representing Okta, and I'm pretty sure Okta is very lucky to have you, because you are going above and beyond to make sure that candidates feel welcome, that they feel at home, and they can feel at ease even before they're part of the company. So thank you so much for coming on the show, for sharing what it is like to be such an empathetic human, for going out of your way for other people and ensuring that they can find the job that they're actually really passionate about.
You're welcome.